All right, so I am still, again, mid-move. I'm going to be maybe down depending on how I can get a video done early. But long story short, I logged into YouTube, checked some comments, as I oftentimes do. So make sure you leave comments if you have anything to say, because I'll reach out to you, or I'll reply anyway. And I saw people saying that the game's down for the last 12 hours or whatever. So I've been so preoccupied and busy, and frankly, I had spent my stamina anyway, so I wasn't going to log in anyway. But I didn't realize, right? And I actually didn't realize until this morning when I tried to log in to play the game to spend my stamina. So apparently I was really lucky, because right before the maintenance started, I got a video out on Coda for a couple hours, and then the maintenance starts, and then it extends overnight if you're in California anyway. And that's normal because the game is operated overseas, so that time for them would be more or less the daytime, and it is now resolved. So we're going to talk about that, the compensation, what happened, etc. Hopefully you all enjoy the video. Make sure you hit that thumbs up and subscribe. No, we don't need a snapshot. Let's get this video to 75 likes. That's low, very easy. Thank you so much for your support if you decide to do so. If you don't decide to do so, thank you regardless. All right, so firstly, there was a problem apparently in the Limited Fierce Battle London, where if you were able, or no, the new Permanent Fierce Battle for London, which, by the way, it's pretty cool that they updated Limited and then dropped Permanent London as well. So that's really cool. They're really trying, like I said on the roadmap, to just have content coming out. But anyway, if you completed certain actions in a certain sequence, basically you could receive the rewards more than once. That's a game-breaking bug, because that at that point turns into, oh, I got a bunch of gems. Oh, I can now throw those gems into summons repeatedly, endlessly if I wanted to, and I could pull for whatever I want. And so there is pretty massive ramifications for this. I'm talking account rollbacks and stuff. It's a lot. And I don't know that they published all that on our side of things, but I did see it on the Japanese side of things, which if not, I'll obviously touch on the Japanese side of things. Let me go ahead and show you this, because this did break. Fucking annoying, man. And as a result of that, they gave this as compensation. So I'll never be one to complain about free gems. It's always nice to get that, right? I'm not really mad at that. This is a multi. However, I did see people, and I can understand it, that were upset about this because of the fact that they thought it wasn't enough, for the fact the game was unplayable for like half a day. Again, depends where you're at, because maybe you were asleep anyway, you didn't really notice. But I can understand that too. And 8 stamina jellies, 1,500 here. They also will be giving out, I don't know if it's already happened or what they're going to do with it, but they also will be giving out the maximum amount of claimable rewards in that allotted time, credits and stuff. So that's also coming to everybody as well, again, if it hasn't already. But they're doing a few things here, and this was the ultimate compensation for the game being an extended maintenance. I had people asking me if they just randomly shut the game down. I was like, damn. They're not going to just drop the game like a thief in the night, bro. Just drop it and run, man. Actually, the thief would be a bad thief if they drop it and run, huh? But you get the point. Anyway, so that's not exactly what happened here. They're not going to do that. Frankly, like I've said before, the game's performing fine monetarily. It's mostly on the overseas part, but it's doing fine. And so I'm not really worried about anything along those lines, and especially wasn't for this, because again, it's just so out of the blue, right? And so anyway, this was added, and this was the compensation for it. So let's get out of here, and let's see if we do have in the news. And if not, I'll of course pull it up. I'm sure they have something in here about it, but of course, I may have to pull it up to explain exactly what happened. But in the meantime, now is a perfect time. Hit that thumbs up if you haven't already as well. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right, so let's see what we have here. So, sorry, I had a pop-up happen there. Maintenance has been completed at the time listed above. We sincerely apologize. An event occurred. That was weird. The audio cut for a second. I thought the recording stopped. An event occurred starting on 11/4 UTC, in which missing rewards and clear rewards for Fierce Battle. Oh, it was the clear rewards too, huh? London and Tachikawa could be obtained multiple times. So actually both of them. Oh, that's crazy. They absolutely broke this. Under certain conditions. As a result of the issue, players were able to obtain dimensional crystals, the free versions, of course, credits, proof of valors, emblems of defense, and various items purchased with these currencies beyond the intended amount. So basically, if you took part in this, you were able to clear those shops. And again, you were able to get more summons and just keep on summoning if you wanted to. Because it didn't say that you could only do this once or anything like that. So they do talk about what happens here. Prioritizing fairness and data restoration for all players. Do not forget your own monetary benefits. Don't forget that. I see through you. Don't forget that. Because obviously it's problematic if you got dudes sitting on way more gems than they should have. It's also problematic if dudes somehow summoned and max duped the characters that are in the game. Come on. Let's keep it a buck. Anyway, we have taken the following actions. All free dimensional crystals acquired beyond the intended amount have been recalled. So they did rewind that. So anybody that had way too many of those that they could tell came, because what it is on their end, they could look at these accounts or filter through a certain number of accounts that cleared this event and how many times they cleared it, basically, and how many rewards they obtained, basically. So that's something they can filter through. And if you were in the red and not in the green, they were like, oh, boom, give me those back. So all dimensional crystals were recalled. Players whose dimensional crystals free balance fell below 0 after the recall have been temporarily restricted from logging in to allow for more accurate recall and data restoration. Details on login restrictions will follow below. So you're locked out of the game if you fell below 0 after the recall. I'm sure there's maybe several somebodies that unknowingly did this. Depending on how specific the conditions are, maybe that's harder to believe. But you are locked out of the game. You can't do anything. So what they're doing here is that they're not saying that you're banned. It's just that you fell below 0, so something is wrong. You should not be able to fall below 0, and you fell below 0 because they pulled back the resources, and you spent, in the process of doing your summons, most likely, spent your own resources along with the resources that you got that were extra, so you fell below 0, and that puts a huge red mark on you, and that's probably a good number of these players, to be honest. Probably a good number of the players that were involved in this to a degree, again, knowingly or unknowingly, are probably locked out of the game. That feels bad. I'm sure several of you guys listening are locked out of the game. That feels bad. If I'm keeping it a buck, I obviously would hate to be locked out of my account for any reason. And they could and should have figured this out beforehand. There's something they need to do. They need to just basically give back. It's unfortunate they didn't just do a full server rewind. And they couldn't do that because there were people that had normal progression. They were just playing the game normally in that time. So they couldn't do a full-on game rewind because that would have fixed this. But what they need to do is they need to go in, see how much you had prior, get you that back because you obviously overspent. It sent you below 0. That shouldn't happen. And go from there. So again, several of you guys are locked out, and that's unfortunate for sure. But just next time there's an exploit, also I would like to say, like, I understand I would hate to be locked out. I also, just a little bit, just a teeny bit of me doesn't feel bad. Just because if you knowingly took part in an exploit, that they're going to fix it, then it is what it is. And frankly, it's their fault for having an exploit, but I think this is a light let off because they could have been upset and banned people that fell below 0, right? There could be other things that could happen. So that's just, and that sounds a little bit insensitive. Somebody's not going to like what I said, but I'm going to be honest. If you partake in stuff like that, then stuff like this is liable to happen. That's what it is. It's not even that I don't feel bad. It's that stuff like this is liable to happen. So next time there's something like this that goes around, maybe make sure you don't do it. But however, I do certainly have empathy for people that unknowingly some way did whatever these conditions were. I've been busy. I don't know what this was, right? And if I did, I wouldn't have done it. No, I wouldn't have done it. I thought maybe I would do it once just to show you. But what I would have done is I would have did a video saying, hey, this is going on. But I've been busy. Anyway. Credits and proof of value are acquired beyond the intended amount have been recalled. These adjustments will not result in a negative balance. To ensure fairness, we will incrementally distribute the maximum amount of credits and proof of valor that could not be recalled to all players. However, for players for whom the items could not be fully recalled, the amount that was not recalled will be subtracted. Emblem of defense. Oh, maybe that's what I was seeing. Maybe they're not giving us anything else. It's just for the players that are affected. So we'll see. Emblem of defense acquired beyond the intended amount have been recalled. The adjustment will not result in a negative balance. To ensure fairness, we will incrementally distribute a set amount of emblems of defense to all players. So they will give everyone out some. No, they do say all player here's too. So yeah, I was right. They're going to give all players some stuff regardless. However, for players who the items could not be fully recalled, an amount that was not recalled would be subtracted from the distribution. Additionally, players whose emblems of defense balance fell below 0 after the recall. Didn't they just say they couldn't fall below? Oh, I guess they can fall below, but it will not result in a negative balance, just having them take back the intended amount. It's kind of weird. But these players that fell below on emblems of defense also are restricted. Yeesh. So for the restrictions, as a result of the item recall, players whose crystals and emblems of defense fell below 0 and for whom immediate restoration is difficult, we have temporarily restricted from logging in. In addition to the restoration measures above, we will individually perform a detailed restoration listed below. We will lift the login restriction for the accounts incrementally as their restoration is completed. We ask for your continued patience. All characters, weapons, talent shards, counterstones, the game gotcha and medals, basically everything in associated with characters and gotchas acquired from this issue will be recalled. Characters and weapons exchanged using those resources will also be recalled. If you thought you were slick using a quick exchange, they're going to pull that back. If talent shards or weapons acquired from this issue for Ascension will be rolled back, so they're going to roll back your characters if you ascended them. Compensation for enhancements, materials, and credits used on characters and weapons acquired is currently under consideration. Items, credits that were exchanged for an excess using the emblems of defense acquired will be recalled. And then here's the compensation. And here's the other stuff. Proof of valor, credits, emblems of defense for the players for whom the items could not be fully recalled. All right. And that broke. So let me show you that. I didn't see that broke. So there's quite a lot that's in there, right? This is it's a pretty big problem overall. Players being, and again, I don't know the exact specifics. Maybe it was easy to do. Here's a look at the stuff down here. Maybe it was easy to do, but for players that are affected by this, like I said, I would hate to be locked out, so I can understand. That absolutely blows. And it's also like you're locked out for the emblems too. It's not just for exploiting whatever summon system they had, right? So there's quite a lot tied into this. Hopefully this is something that gets resolved sooner than later, so you guys don't have a lot of downtime. You will, at the bare minimum, get also the 1,500 crystals as well. And you're still gonna you're gonna log into a free multi at least. So there's that. Because they could have really been dicks and said, "No, you're not getting this." But again, that would have been terrible. So anyway, guys, let me know what you think about this whole situation. There's, again, a lot that's kind of tied into this. Long story short, they had a game-breaking bug that allowed for you to do more summons than you should be able to. And they couldn't let that stand for a lot of reasons, but they had to pull it back. And this is not the first time something like this has happened in a gacha game. It won't be the last. This is not completely abnormal or out of the blue, or out of the box, I guess I should say. But it definitely does suck. So let me know what you think. I'll see you all in the next one.